Hello and welcome to the Sales Show. I'm Marie Kirkpatrick, your sales and business strategist. I'm a mum, a wife, and a multi-business owner myself. With over 15 years experience in sales and business, I have worked with startups all the way through to multi-million dollar companies. I have seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. I love helping service-based businesses make an income as well as an impact. Let's jump into talking about all things sales and business. Welcome back to the Sales Show. Today we have the amazing MG coming in to talk all things AI and marketing. And as I was just saying before we kicked off, I'm one of those people that's on the fence with AI, and this is what I want to kind of get into today. So today we are going to peel back the curtain on how AI is flipping the marketing, and I would also say the sales world on its head. So join us as we chat about the beautiful mastermind that MG has also created called the Biz Revolution, where she has implemented a lot of this AI and marketing stuff and helps other business owners roll this sort of stuff out into their business. So expect some craziness. We are both very passionate about what we do, and this is what I love about MG. So welcome to the show, Em.
Thank you so much for having me. I was like, where is she going to go with this? We are both.
We are both.
Could insert a lot of adjectives there.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got to keep it clean.
Yeah.
But let's start off with, because you've obviously been in marketing for a fair while.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us a little bit about your journey and how you've ended up in how you are today.
So how I am today is combining the powers of marketing and AI. And that's actually relatively new because while AI is not new, a lot of people think it is, it's newly available to the public. I would not have known what that was 18 months ago. So beginning of last year, if someone said AI, I would have said, what does that stand for? So just making it clear, I'm not actually an expert in AI. I don't have a data science background, but what I have learned in the last 18 months with ADHD and it just really like drilling down, hyper-focusing into AI and getting excited about it is that it's possible for everyone to use now. And if I'm using it, then everyone can. But yeah, my background is marketing, my degree circa 2007, kind of pre-social media, but the foundations of marketing, are still the same at the end of the day. You need to know who the hell you're talking to, and you need to speak to them in a way that they're going to hear your message and the, behavioral psychology, bias psychology, all that kind of stuff. It's still relatively the same. It's more the medium that has changed over time. And now this revolution of technology is changing everything in marketing. And you're right, sales. And I kind of feel like if you don't get on board with it, you are going to get left behind, but you need to get on board with it in the right way. So I know we're kind of segueing into that potentially, but believe it or not, I'm still the same as you. I'm on the fence with a lot of things around
really?
AI. Yes.
See, I feel like you are completely team AI, and I'm like, yep, I'm all for it. And I've watched a lot of the stuff that you've put out on social media and all that sort of stuff. And I think you do it in a really authentic, connection-based way, which is obviously what I'm all about. But what I see people do is they completely allow AI to run their business, to answer all their questions about their target market and their ideal clients, and they get AI to sell their stuff. And as soon as I read it, I think, ugh,
AI.
That is rubbish, and it doesn't feel good and it doesn't feel authentic. And so that's the part of me that goes, AI, not for me. But then when I see you do it the way that you do, I think, there's absolutely room to play in that space. I just don't know what that looks like or how to get it to that real, authentic, connected space using my voice and my knowledge and all of that in it.
And I think that is the issue right now, and will continue to be the issue the more people avoid using it, to be honest, is that right now, if it's not used well, it feels disconnected because we read the word unlock and we go, oh, AI, as soon as you see the word unlock. Or one of the words that always seems to come up for with me is marketing maven. And I'm like, I would never say maven. So yes, if you let AI do everything for you and you haven't set it up in a way that still injects humanness, it's going to feel clunky and then you're going to lose trust. And both of us know trust is crucial in sales and marketing.
Absolutely.
And if you lose that, you will lose money. And that's a problem. You will lose faith. Your audience will be like, am I talking to you? Who am I talking to? Because there's no transparency. But I mean, to be honest, that's not actually the reason I'm on the fence with AI. The reason I'm on the fence with AI is more about like a big world issue, in the fact that right now we're in the messy middle of this huge technological change, and the potential of AI is quite scary. And I think a lot of people are concerned about that.
Yeah.
Is that something you're concerned about? Is like the potential of what it could do long term?
Yeah, and just the security side of it, the IP side of it.
Yes.
All of that is definitely something that plays on my mind. But it's also, at what stage do we lose our ability to communicate as ourselves? It's kind of like, back in the day when mobile phones came out, and when you were 10 or 15 years old, you could remember your best mate's telephone number and you could pick up the phone and dial it. Now, if someone said, what's your best mate's phone number? I don't know. You look it up on your phone. And so it's like that fear of, are we losing another skill set in our humanness? Yeah.
We're outsourcing a type of skill set. Absolutely. And it's a growing number of skill sets. So the way I look at this is that right now, the way AI is developing is through older white men in Silicon Valley. And if we don't do anything with it, it's still going to happen, because those people that are creating it are still going to create it, right?
Yep.
So my view is that what we need to do is use it, because the more people, everyday people, women, people from different ethnicities and cultures, different places around the world, the more we use it, the more we can level the playing field with it. Because when AI is being used, it's being trained as you use it. And so we need more, especially women, because 90% of the developers of AI are men. And so I'm very, very passionate about getting women to use it, not just because of that, but also because women are the ones that wear 5 billion hats.
Yes, the mental load is real. Absolutely.
We need the bots to help us, right? Like if we can find ways to have it work authentically for us, because there are ways to do that if you know how to use it properly, but you will only know how to use it properly if you get on board. And I see the scary side of it, but I also see the really powerful side of it, leveling the playing field, because it's now available to everyone. 50 years ago, because it's been around for 50 years, 50 years ago, like I said, I didn't even know what it was. We didn't have access to this. So now there are some places I know New York City, there are organizations that are helping homeless people by training them with AI.
Wow.
Because anyone can access it. A lot of it's accessed for free at the moment. I don't know how much longer that will last. I know realistically it's probably just because they want to get as much data as they can at the free level. But there's a point in time right now where that creates a lot of opportunity for anyone. Like you and I, we're privileged, right?
Absolutely.
And there's people that are a lot of people that are less privileged than us. But as long as you have access to the internet, and there are obviously people in the world that don't, you have access to AI. So there is an element of being able to level the playing field. And that's really what I think could be powerful with AI. And it's totally off the topic of marketing and sales. But I do think if you've got women listening to this, women, we're heart-centered, right?
Absolutely, yep.
And we naturally have fears about things that could be detrimental to our children, to the world. And so understandably, there will be women not wanting to use AI in their business because there's that underlying, what does this mean for society? And I get that. Like, I can see why there is that fear there. And so that's why I guess I like to speak into that.
Yeah. I also find, as you touched on before, especially from a sales perspective, and when I've jumped into the AI space and gone, okay, cool, like give me some ideas around how you would sell this. And I've actually typed it into, say, for example, ChatGPT or whatever. And it's come back and I'm like, it's so masculine and it's so close the deals and hustle this. And I'm just like, no.
Because it's trained on that, right?
Yeah.
So this is where you have power, Marie. I would actually respond to that and say, that's a really masculine way of dealing with sales that may not actually work for a lot of people. This is how I would do it, and train it, like give it that information, because then what it starts spitting out at the other end, it's now trained off your knowledge. Now, there's obviously IP there. You've got to consider, like, how much do I want to give away? But at the end of the day, if you have any of this information on your website, now on your social media as well, AI's got access to it.
Scraping all of it. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm curious, just to touch on, what do you believe the difference between marketing and sales is?
Okay, so I believe, well, they're very intertwined. Like, I kind of look at them as like a Venn diagram, right?
Right. Yeah.
Like, they're separate, but they have very clear overlaps.
Yeah.
You can't have one without the other, because if you don't have your sales process in place, you can market, and then how do you get someone to actually make the sale? How do you ensure they go through that customer journey?
Yeah.
If you don't have the marketing in place, how do you know who you're speaking to in order to get the sale? So that's kind of how I see them, as different, but also with some crossover.
And do you feel like AI can help on both those elements?
Yes. But right now, there's a lot of people that are using it in ways that are the opposite of how they should do sales. So I think sales is the worst place that AI is being used right now.
Yes. This is why I wanted to have this conversation, because I was like, and someone was like, oh, really? But I hear you talk about, like, maybe AI is not right from a sales perspective. And I honestly believe that it can be used for it, but it can be it can be done really badly. And so I was like, come on, MG, let's chat through this stuff. So tell me more.
I think the mistake that companies are making now, all the way up to, you know, huge companies, is that they're relying on a sales bot to make the sale. What I think they should be doing is using AI in the background to manage parts of the sales process, as opposed to the actual sales conversation. Because you can free up so much time with automations in the background, and that's all AI. So this is something I didn't know, is that I've been using AI for ages, because even my email automations from Kartra, that's AI. Any machine learning, any automation is machine learning, but there's just so much more we can do now. So for example, if someone has FAQs, like just about a product, sure, have an FAQ bot, but always have a human element. Like, if I can't answer your question, let me connect you with a human right now and make it really clear from the beginning, I am a bot. Don't pretend that you are a human. And then all of a sudden someone's like, gets to that point where they're like, oh, is this real or is it not? You know, I saw someone share, I'll only ever get bots when they actually sound like humans. I'm like, don't do that, because the last thing you want is for someone to realize halfway through a conversation they're not even speaking to a human. Can you imagine that? You'd just be like, fuck this, excuse my French, like, just, I'm out, you know? And I've seen that that's actually happening in one of the telecommunication companies in Australia. They are using voice, like AI, to answer queries, but they're not telling you. And I'm like, I would well and truly cancel my account if I had a conversation and found that out, because so what they have got is they've got people in the Philippines not speaking, but pressing buttons to say this, say that, say this, say that. So they make it sound like you're speaking to someone in Australia, but it's actually someone in the Philippines just pushing buttons and not speaking.
And that's what I mean. Like, where do you draw the line of this is not okay? And how do they get to that point where they think that is okay and that is a good business decision?
Profit margins, right?
Oh.
Yeah. And I mean, look, I think
At what cost to your brand and to your business?
Exactly. And I think the thing is, we can learn from these things, and we can learn from these conversations and mistakes. It's like any new technology. Any new technology can be used as a powerful tool or a weapon. And I'm not saying that, I mean, it's kind of weaponizing it when you pretend that you're an Australian when you're actually talking to someone in the Philippines pushing buttons. Like, it's manipulative. So all of these things can be used. Social media, same thing. It can be used as a tool. It can be weaponized. And now we're getting more and more legislation around things in social media. The same is going to come with AI, but we're living through a phase of a bit of a shit show, really, at the moment, because it's a new technology that I mean, the government is so behind with understanding technology anyway.
Yeah.
So for them to put in legislation it is going to take time. And I do think this is also why we need to be using it, because you're more protected. If you understand how it works, you will be able to spot a scam
Yeah,
better
knowledge is power, for sure.
than if you are just like, I'm going to avoid and put my head in the sand here.
Yeah. So tell me, if someone's wanting to start out in AI and is curious about what is that first step or the best thing to do first, what would that look like? Like, they're obviously not going to go and build a whole bot.
Yeah.
Or are they? Is that what we're suggesting? I don't know. What do you?
Okay, so where I always suggest you start is working out what it is that you would love to be able to automate in your business or your life, or whatever area of you want to change things and make things easier for yourself.
Yeah.
Because there is currently, like at the moment, 17,000 AI tools out there. And if you just go, I'm going to just search for AI tools, you'll look at them all and be like, I don't know where to start. Just to be clear, though, probably 10,000 of those are based off ChatGPT, OpenAI.
Yeah.
So a lot of people have capitalized on the OpenAI platform being available, and they've built apps kind of as a framework around OpenAI. And then it's basically just ChatGPT trained in a certain way with certain instructions.
Yeah.
So the first thing I would do is get into ChatGPT and start playing. I am completely self-taught. I used YouTube clips. I searched, hey, I want to learn how to do this on ChatGPT. I watched a YouTube clip. I played. So swap your Netflix time for ChatGPT time. Play around with it.
Can't we do both? Can't we?
At the same time, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. My husband is always like, are we watching this? I'm like, nah, you can watch your zombie stuff. I'm just on ChatGPT tonight.
Yeah. I love it.
Start there. But I want to say, and a lot of people don't realize this, especially in business, that AI is not just about making content, making words, and making visuals. That is actually the lowest layer of AI. That is the basics. Start there, obviously. But if you're thinking, I love writing and I love creating graphics and I blah, 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 so I don't want to do any of that, that is literally like the first layer. Beyond that, there is so much that AI does with workflows and automations to streamline the operations of your business.
Yeah.
And everyone needs that.
Which is what I'm excited about from an AI perspective, because I'm all about systems and making things more efficient. And as we were talking about before, women, we all wear 50 billion hats, not just from a business perspective, but also from an outside of business perspective, mum life, all of that too, right? Mm-hmm. And so from the automations of systems and processes that we're doing on repeat, I think that's really, really powerful. Can you give me an example of where some of your clients have had huge success with AI and what it's done from a business point of view for them?
So my goal with the clients that I work with, particularly one-to-one, is to help them save 10 hours at least a week.
That's
now, I also want to do this through the least number of AI tools, because if you're then having to pay hundreds of dollars, I mean, look, it still works out cheaper than 10 hours of your time regardless.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of really affordable or free tools that can save you a lot of time. So for example, one of my clients that I worked with recently, she's like me, multiple things on the go. She's got a social media agency. She's got a content like UGC creation piece. She also helps other people manage their social media businesses as well. So she's got a lot of things on the go. So what we did is we streamlined her processes in every single one of those using things like Zapier.
Yep.
And there's another one out there that not many people know about called Make. So we use that to just streamline a lot of her processes, including mainly her onboarding process, because that was something that took a lot of time and was different for each of her offers. And then she'd get kind of lost as to where different people were. Mm-hmm. So we set up an onboarding bot for all three of her offers. And that meant that as soon as someone signed up, the onboarding bot took them through the process and then gave her a message on WhatsApp once they were finished. So they signed up, they went through the process. She just gets a message to say, right, they're all done. And the next cool thing we did was the onboarding form they filled in. We got a workflow to read the onboarding form and summarize it for her and send her the email summary. So she could go back to the form, but before she jumps on their kickoff call with them, she's just got an email summary of the detailed description that they put in their form to get started. And then she can come back to the form if she actually feels like she needs a bit more information. So things like that have saving her a lot of time, but none of this is content creation. Like none of it.
Yeah.
It was not about, she loves that part of it, but you know what? It saves so much time for her then to really get into the creative space for content creation.
Yeah. And using those elements of her expertise and her knowledge where it's actually going to be more beneficial, right? Rather than focusing on just the onboarding side of it. Okay, cool.
And that's all part of the customer experience, right?
Absolutely, which is all part of your sales process too.
Exactly. So it really, it matters a lot to be able to do that and have that done so well and in an interactive way, even though it's not with her one-on-one, so that she can really focus on the things she wants to do and does really well with her clients.
Yeah, absolutely. And so what do you think are the most common misconceptions about AI that you feel like if people just knew this element of it, their whole perspective on AI would change?
There's probably a few things that I've already covered. So the first one is that there's so many tools. I don't know where to start. And I think it's important to know that most of them are just based off OpenAI. So go and learn that. And then once you have an understanding of how it responds, you'll better use pretty much every AI tool. And I think the biggest one is I don't know where to start. But the other one is that it's just for content creation. It's just for words and images. And that really is not it. Like that will save you time, sure, if that's something that takes you a lot of time. But what is possible with the automation and operation side of AI is actually where the majority of time in businesses is going to be changed and saved completely. Like we're looking down the barrel of the first $1 billion business that's solo operated.
Wow.
Because
backed by AI.
All backed by AI, yes.
Yeah. Wow.
Because at an operational level, it can do that.
Yeah. So if it's not content creation and we start with like looking at, say, for example, the onboarding or the sales, not the sales, the systems and the processes and the efficiency side of it, if there's people listening to this that are like the solopreneurs that maybe want to hit that $1 billion mark on their own.
I haven't hit that, by the way.
Yeah, no, neither have I, mate. Neither have I. But we're aiming for it. Absolutely. What would be those like 3 action steps that they could take to be like, right, MG told me to play with AI. I've got free chat GPT sitting down at my desk.
Yep.
What am I doing? What does that look like?
First step is to determine the tasks that you would like to be able to automate.
And how do we go about that?
Sit down on a day, normal business day, and everything you do, write it down. Just write down the tasks that you do in a day. Doesn't matter how small, menial they are, just write them down. And then throughout the day, anything that you think about, like say it's a Tuesday, but you do a podcast on a Monday, just write it down, podcast, write them all down. Then the next step number 2, is to break those tasks down into micro tasks. So I would just pick one, like say it's podcasting. I would just pick one that maybe takes up a lot of your time that you would love for it to be a lot quicker, a lot more streamlined, a lot more effective, and break it down. And when I say micro steps, you want to break it down into every little step that happens. So not just recording the podcast. It's like, okay, what needs to happen for you to record the podcast? You might need to do some research. You might need like every little bit, because every little part of that has the potential of being automated.
Yeah.
So that's the second step. And the third step is then with each of those to go, okay, if that could be automated, what would that look like? Because there's probably something out there that can help you to automate it. Now, once you start researching, you'll find a lot of things and it's trial and error. Honestly, you will not get it right the first time. There will be mistakes. You do need to create space for this. Yeah. The thing that I will say to people is that if it can save you 10 hours a week, but you maybe give it a couple of months at the beginning where you're working an extra 10 hours to get this going for you, 10 hours a week works out to 17 work weeks a year for me.
Right.
because I work 30 hours a week. And if you multiply that, if you do all the maths, it works out 17 work weeks a year for me.
Right.
And I'm like, if I can play around with this for a couple of months and then get 17 work weeks back,
Yeah.
it's absolutely worth it. Like, I have so often got people coming to me saying, I do not know how you do everything that you do, because I now have a marketing agency. I don't even know if I've told you this, Marie. I have an ads agency.
Yeah. We've spoken about it.
Yep, I'm still running my business and, doing consulting and coaching in my membership in there. I'm also launching a book with 22 incredible women in business this year. I've just booked 4 days away this weekend because I'm like, let's have a long weekend. I have got the time to do so much because so much of it happens automatically.
Yeah. And tell me, so I know you and I have spoken a lot about the biz revolution, and I've come in and helped some of your party people with some sales aspects of it. Tell me where AI fits in that membership for you, both from a front end point of view, like what you're helping your clients with, as well as the back end side of it of what you use AI for in your membership.
Yeah, well, and the biz revolution actually came about because of 12 months ago, me seeing this huge shift in the business industry, and also at the same time a lot of people really struggling with cash flow, and it's gotten worse in the last 12 months as well. The economic crisis that we're all experiencing has meant that things like really high priced coaching programs are out of reach for a lot of people, even privileged people. It's still it's out of reach. We have to reprioritize. But at the same time, AI has been growing, and I thought, what if AI can actually help fix this problem for small business? Because yes, we may not have the same cash flow, but we can have automations that allow us to do more with the cash flow that we have. And I started this without even really knowing what that meant, but I just went in, threw myself in the deep end, and it forced me to learn things, obviously, as well. And so now, 12 months down the track, we have got 5 marketing bots set up for the Biz Revolution that have different purposes. I've learned the hard way that you need to really specify their individual purposes rather than try and have one big conglomerate bot that does it all. It's better if they have one job. So like we have a viral hooks Viv who's trained on like thousands of viral TikToks, because TikTok is where all the hooky hooks are, We've got a 90-day plan Nina, who takes you basically through, I've got a 90-day planning workbook. She takes you through it conversationally and creates your 90-day marketing plan. We've got content queen Carrie, who gets all of your content pillars, your offers, your business, what you're currently, wanting to achieve in your content, and helps to create content at each layer of your funnel, things like that. So we've been able to create that, and now members of the Biz Revolution get access to that, but they also get access to trainings on how to create those things for their own business, because it's actually not that hard.
Yeah, I think it's the overwhelm at the start that kind of kicks that in. And I know that you and I had conversations even before I kicked off with her sales club, because we both found that there was that need of it. You don't need to pay millions of dollars to be able to get certain help within your business. And us as the white privileged females that we are, of like, well, who are we to tell everyone that they've got to pay us millions of dollars to get that help that all of us need to grow their business. And so I love that we both started that with the same intentions of like, just let me help you. Just come on in. It's cost effective. It's community focused.
And it's scalable. So at the end of the day, for me, what it's meant is that I actually have more time for one-on-one, which I love. Like, I kept being told, you can't keep doing one-on-one if you want to scale. But I love it. It's like, I really love getting into someone's business and feeling like I individually have such a huge impact. But I know not everyone can afford that. So I can scale the Biz Revolution and help a lot of people. And there's a lot of resources, and the community is amazing, because even if I haven't had a chance to get in and answer a question, like, we've got startups all the way to multiple 7-figure businesses in there. Like, it's such a beautiful community. And then I get this time to have, like these interviews and share this stuff and have one-on-ones with people and spend hours going down rabbit holes of AI tools that I haven't yet discovered. And there's like 3,000 that come out a day. I'm going, oh my God.
Must get up at 4 a.m. to learn AI.
My business partner does that. Like, I'm not a early morning person, so she's crazy. She's up at 4 a.m. doing stuff like that. But yeah, and when you're excited about it and you can see the potential, you find space for it, but then AI can provide the frameworks to create that space.
Awesome. And if someone wants to know more about the Biz Revolution and how they can implement AI into their business, what would that look like?
They just go to thebizrevolution.com, and we might need to spell that on your show notes perhaps, because
Yes,
it's
absolutely.
it's a new word.
Yeah. That's okay. We'll have it all in the notes anyway. But tell us why they would join it. Like, sell it to us.
Ooh, oh my gosh, like pressure. Sell it to the sales strategist.
Sell it to the sales chick.
So the Biz Revolution is for women in business who, am I allowed to swear? Because I swear on my sales page. I've already sworn. Who want to get shit done and make more money. So we're about working smarter, not harder, because we are women that are wearing all the hats. So we need things like AI systems, streamlined marketing and sales processes so that we can make more money in less time.
Yeah.
I have recently found out that 90% of women in Australia are not making six figures in business. So only 10%. And I want to expand that 10%.
Yeah, me too.
You know, I think six figures is the minimum we should be making in business. We don't need to make seven figures. Like, I know there's a lot of coaches that are like, woo, let's go for seven figures. Like, but if you're making less than six figures in business in your year, then you're really going to be paying yourself basically minimum wage once you take out tax, expenses.
Super. Yeah, all of it.
And I'm not okay with that, because there is enough of a gender gap. And this is something I'm very passionate about, is that women, we've, been given more opportunities, blah, 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 blah. To tell how I feel about it, blah, blah, blah. We've been given all these opportunities.
Yeah.
But we're expected to do everything, and we somehow don't get paid for most of those things that we do, like having children and taking that time off. So I want every woman in business to be making six figures, at least, in their business, not 90% not making it. That blows my mind.
And this is what, like, I feel like you and I connect so passionately about. It's like when people come to me and be like, I want to make more money in my business. I'm like, great. How much are we earning at the moment? How much do you want to be earning? Because there's a lot of numbers between a six-figure business and a seven-figure business, right? Like, you can have high-end six-figure business, or you can have low-end seven-figure businesses. Like, there's such a big scale on that. But so many women are like, oh, I just want to do it to help more people, and I want to do it to make a bigger impact. I'm like, great. What do we need to do to make impact and income?
Yes.
Because otherwise, you literally may as well go and work for someone else. Business is hard. Business has like, I had a day this week where I was like, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. Everything felt hard. Everything felt overwhelming. Like, it was just so full on that I thought, I just want to go and live on the dole and learn to surf. I can't surf, and I'd be bored within half a day.
And you'd have time to learn, right?
Yeah. And so
I have days like that too, Marie.
Yeah. And so I was like, and it lasted for probably an hour. And I got in and I was talking to some other people about it. And I thought, how many women live that constantly? And they think, I've just got to get here. And I was like, if I can just help more of those women know how to sell it.
Yes.
So you with the marketing side of it, me with the sales side of it, of like, make them a happy marriage. Gangbusters. I think it's freaking brilliant.
Yes. So, yeah, absolutely. And I've just noticed that behind you have impact and income, like right above your head, like an halo right there. And it's so true. And the thing about women making money is that when women make money, it goes further. Like, we are natural multipliers. You give a woman $500, she makes it go way further than a man. He just puts it towards a boat. And the boat is not there yet. It's just,
I was like, what boat are you getting for $500?
Yeah, no, it puts it towards a boat, right? Like, he's got a steering wheel. And women also give back and don't hoard money. So, and this is not just me making shit up. Like, there is stats to back this up, that when women have more money, they give a lot of it back. We're already giving back in the Biz Revolution, because every time someone comes to a session, we are partnered with Big One, which gives back to different organizations worldwide that are working towards the UN goals.
Yep.
And so every time someone comes to a session, they get to choose who the Biz Revolution donates to. Awesome. Now, I mean, I love doing that, and I'm not saying that men wouldn't do that, but more women are doing that than men. So we need to give women the tools to be able to succeed in terms of income, because it helps create more impact.
Absolutely. We give a percentage of our profits over to a local domestic violence shelter because
Yes, I've seen you talk about that too. Yes.
yeah, and even like for me, it goes back to that privilege side of life. I've always been little miss independent of like sorting out my own finances, and my man's not a plan and all that sort of rubbish that goes with it. But I could never imagine being that woman with kids and thinking, I don't know where our next meal's coming from. I don't know where, I don't have a safe place. Like that sort of stuff gets me so emotional.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel
Mm-hmm.
like I've been given such a skill and a talent to show people to make money that I also get to use the money that I make for a really positive impact on the world. And to show, like, I'm raising boys, I know you're raising girls, but I also want my kids to know that they live a really freaking privileged life too. And so for them, I want them to understand that not everyone lives the life that we do. And so you can do good in anything. Yeah. But I think the money side of it needs to also be there as well.
Yeah. Well, money is, I hate it, but money is what makes the world go round. It's what causes wars, and it's also what creates happiness and, the foundational health and foundational stability and everything in our lives. So it's something that is really important. But women are also very conditioned to just want to please others and, be the good person and all that. So therefore that's why it is more about, I want to make impact. I want to help people. Yeah. But really, you can only help people if you are yourself stable enough to be able to help people. Therefore, you've got to be making six figures, because just the cost of living right now, if you are a single person trying to live off less than six figures, how do you afford housing? How do you afford food? Let alone if you're a single mother, like.
Yeah, hard work. Very hard work. Well, my lovely MG, thank you so much for today's chat. I've absolutely freaking loved it, because this sort of stuff for me is the